How's it going, everyone? It's K Lumity here, and today we're going to be talking about a very unique video game, a game that takes a unique spin on the whole life simulator kind of, farming simulator style game, and it takes its unique turn in the fact that not only is it unique in its delivery of the farming elements and its delivery of the living a life element, it's unique in the fact that it also adds a completely different aspect of gameplay, which you don't see in a lot of these life simulator style games. This game is Cult of the Lamb, and it is a game that is, first of all, definitely not for kids despite its cute appearance. It may look sweet and adorable when you first see the little lamb on there. This is not a game for kids. Let me put that right out there first and foremost. But that being said, this is a game with a lot of dark humor. It's a very dark game. It's a very fun game, and it's really unique. I've never played anything quite like this. It is like if you took Animal Crossing and you mixed it with some sort of like retro adventure game. That's what this is like. In Cult of the Lamb, you are starting a cult in the name of basically a guy that's like, it's like a god that's like chained up. His name is the Chained One. That's literally his name. And you're starting a cult in his honor after he saves your life. So the entire point of the game is to start your commune, build it up, get followers, indoctrinate people into your group, build beds and build living shelters for your fellow cult members, preach to your cult members to gain, their respect and to get more upgrades. You upgrade in this game by basically getting devotion from your followers, and you can have them worship you by worshiping a statue that's out kind of like in the center of your commune. You can do different rituals to have them get closer to you, or in some cases, maybe it actually will distance them from you, depending on what you want them to do. If you want them to fast, so you're not having to cook for them as often, well, that will actually lower their devotion to you and their faith in you for a little bit until you can build that back up, because you're literally asking them, hey, I need you to not eat in my honor. Like, that's a pretty big ask. So you can do things like that. You can also sacrifice a villager, which is a really interesting idea, because not only can you sacrifice villagers, but you also get to make your own doctrine as you go throughout this game, and you can pick what your basically villagers and your cultists, you can pick what they will be taught in terms of, is sacrifice good or is sacrifice looked down upon. You can actually teach them that stuff, and depending on what you pick, your rituals will get a different response from your followers, which is pretty interesting. I taught them that ritual was a good thing. The ritual of sacrifice was a good thing. So whenever I sacrificed them, their devotion actually went up to me, especially when I sacrificed an elder. Whenever I sacrificed one of the elders, the devotion from the cult, it skyrocketed. They really enjoyed that. They appreciated it, and I think that shows a sign of a good leader. But in all seriousness, yeah, this game is insane. It's a dark game. It has a lot of dark humor in it. You're going to see a lot of just kind of messed up things. Like you can do a lot of messed up things. Like I said, you can have this tentacle come up and sacrifice characters. You can have characters transcend into the next life, which basically just has them like lift up to the ceiling, and then they explode and meat falls down, and you can pick up their meat, and then you can actually use the meat to cook for the other followers. So you can turn your entire commune into cannibals. I didn't do that. That is a doctrine you can teach. You can teach a doctrine of cannibalism. I didn't do that. I decided to do grass, because to me it just was a lot better, because I had so much grass on me in this game. That sounds weird saying, like out of context, just me saying I had a lot of grass. But I had so much grass in this game, and I didn't have anything to do with it, but I saw that you could use doctrine to make it so, you can teach them that it's good to eat grass. So if you do that, they'll actually appreciate it, and they won't have any negative effects from eating just grass. So that's what I did. And I thought that was more useful over the cannibalism trait. And it's kind of stuff like that. You kind of have to pick what you want your cult to be like. How do you envision your cult at the end of the day? That's what you do. And it seems very weird to say that, but that's what this game is all about. It's all about creating your ideal version of a commune. And sometimes those ideal versions have sacrifices. Sometimes they don't have any sacrifices. Sometimes they have confession booths. Sometimes they have, all sorts of different stuff. Sometimes they have characters that you can make eat feces. I'm not kidding. That's actually a thing. One of the villagers came up to me and actually asked me to prepare him a dish of feces, and I was just like, "Wow, this is." I'm playing a game that's encouraging to make someone eat crap. I don't know how to feel about that. But overall, this is a fun game. It's a funny game. It looks innocent at first. Like I said, it's definitely not a kid's game. Way too dark and way too messed up for a kid to play, in my opinion. But it is a fun game. And while all that, like I said, that's already a big twist on the whole, life simulator, farming simulator style game. That's already a twist on the Animal Crossing genre. But it takes it a step further by actually having a completely other half of the game, which is all based on combat. And I believe the way it works is actually by having randomly generated rooms that are all connect, and you can go through each room and you fight enemies, you defeat all the enemies in that room, and you get a chest for defeating all the enemies. And that chest will have usually gold in it. Sometimes it will be like swapped out for food. That way you can have more food for your followers. Sometimes you'll get a different reward, like you'll get better weapons as you go along through these like dungeon style areas. So you can get better weapons to go fight the final boss at the end of the dungeon, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that, and I liked the majority of the weapons. They do take some time getting used to, I will say, because like when you go from using a dagger to using a hammer, the difference in speed is definitely something you have to get used to. And you will eventually find, yourself getting comfortable with all the weapons, but you will still probably have a favorite out of all of them that is your go-to. And you get all sorts of different types of weapons, too, in terms of, like, damage. You get some that can poison, you get some that cause, like, this ghost to, like, fly out of the body and it will attack another enemy. You have vampiric weapons that will basically take life points away from other enemies and give them to you. There's all sorts of different stuff. And the combat, I will say, it's very well done in this game. I really did enjoy the combat, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but it controls pretty well. Every now and then, it was a little bit hard to hit the target like I was trying to, but for the most part, I think it holds its own pretty well. I think the reason I was having problems at first trying to hit the targets I was trying to hit is because I wasn't used to this kind of like 2D style of, like, it's like 2D, but the way you're running around this area feels almost 3D. It's hard to explain. So when you're doing like the rolls and stuff and you're trying to swing, it's like your character's a piece of paper. So when you're swinging at them, you could be looking like you're trying to hit them, but because of the angle at it, you're not actually hitting them. And that's hard to explain. I hope that makes sense, but it's all perception based. And sometimes, like when I first started the game, the perception felt a little bit off, but I got used to it as time went on. So that's something I think that you'll overcome as you play the game. The difficulty of the game, I think, is pretty good on normal difficulty. During the last boss fight, I did turn it down to easy because it turned out to be one of those boss fights that's just like, but wait, there's another phase. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not replaying this all again every single time I die. So I turned it to easy, and I beat it really easy that time. The difference between easy and normal is actually quite surprising, I will say. But yeah, overall though, I did enjoy my time with this game. It was a lot of fun, and even after you beat the main campaign and you destroy the one who's chained and all that stuff, even after you do all that, there's more content after you beat the game, which is awesome. There's this whole new like style you can do of this basically a new mode where you go to what's called Purgatory, and you can literally go through Purgatory once per day, and time will like freeze, so time will not pass while you're in there, and you can just get a bunch of goodies. You can get a bunch of stuff to get better upgrades for like your cloaks that you wear. You can get different types of decorations and different character skins by going through this. There's a lot of different stuff you can unlock by going through Purgatory, which is pretty cool. And like I said, that's end game content, and I really appreciate how much stuff is there. I don't know how long that stuff has been there, but it doesn't matter because it's there now. And when I started playing it, that stuff was already added in. So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm enjoying this, and I look forward to putting more time into the end game, because I'm going to keep playing. Even though I've beaten the game, beaten the main quest, I'm going to keep playing because there's so much to do after you beat the game that I'm not going to be done for quite some time. Overall, this is a fantastic game. I'll give this game, Cult of the Lamb, a 9 out of 10. The only reason it doesn't get a perfect 10 out of 10 for me is just because the combat does take some getting used to. The final boss fight is... I'm not a fan of boss fights that do the whole, but wait, you thought you defeated it? Here's another phase. I'm not a fan of boss fights that do that. It's to me, it's like my pet peeve of gaming. Whenever the boss fight's just like, but wait, there's more. I'm just like, no more. I took down your health bar. It's dead. Stop it. Like, I want that to be the end. So I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10, but it is a fantastic game. It's cute. It's adorable, but twisted at the same time. You see the little lamb and you think he's so cute, and then you realize, yeah, he's evil, man. Like, I mean, there's not really he's not good in any sort of way. Or maybe it was just the way I was playing it. Maybe just the way I was playing it made him evil. I don't know. Maybe you can find a way to make your cult not so evil, but I made mine completely evil. So there we go. I'll talk to you next video. You have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.